Hey everybody, so today we're going to be talking about the actual cost of restoring a drum set and whether or not it's financially worth it. Hey guys, this kit is a 12, 13, 16, 18, 22 by 14, and then I have a 5 by 14 Trixon. Obviously the kit is a Ludwig, and we'll be going over the actual cost to restore a drum kit. Sometime during the video, I will be posting a sheet that's got all my all the expenditures that I can remember when it came to restoring this drum kit. I'll be bringing the camera close to the kit so you guys can get a really good look at it, but I want to talk money today and parts. Obviously guys, I'm sure everybody knows, if you play, collect, restore, or flip drums, you know that it's a very soft drum market right now, or music market in general. So right now is the time to buy and the time to sell if you want to sell, not if you have to sell. What I mean by that is you can hold on to it and ask a reasonable price based on what everything is selling in your area for, and then put it on there for that price or close to that price, and then wait if you don't have to sell. If you have to sell, then you're kind of screwed, to be honest with you. Okay guys, let's talk the shells. The shells, when I got them, all were bare wood. There was no hardware, no wrap, nothing. It was just the shells. They were all mid-60s shells prior to 68, and I can tell because one, the interiors are painted white, and then the baseball bat muffler has two holes for it, one for the screw and one for the muffler itself, and the larger hole for the muffler is on top. So a large hole on top, small on the bottom, will tell you whether it's a baseball bat muffler shell. These all are, and we'll start there with the mufflers. They're insane. These don't have them because I couldn't justify spending between $55 and $70, sometimes even more is what they're asking on reverb. So you do that, you do that times these four, you're gonna spend a lot of money, right? Once again, the shells, I got them at a shop here in LA where I had store credit, and I have a relationship with the owner there, so he let me take these shells home. A lot of these were in really bad shape. They were Swiss cheese. So I ended up having to buy wood dowels so that I could plug them. And so when we're running through this, guys, I'm not even gonna talk about, my hourly rate, I guess you could say. I'm just gonna talk parts. So I had to buy dowels, I had to get some, I had glue in house, so we were good there. Enough to do all of these. The bass drum alone, I'm not kidding you, it probably had about, I don't know, maybe 40 holes, maybe more, that I had to plug. And that was because they had changed the layout of the lugs and they drilled them incorrectly. So I had to replug them and then re-drill them again. It was a disaster. Plus, not to mention, all the holes that had been, I don't know, man, it looked like, I don't know what it was. It looked like someone took a shotgun, and just put holes all over the bass drum. The wrap alone cost me like $375, I think is what it was. Maybe $400 for all the shells, okay? I had to recut the edges in all of them because none of them were good. They were all in round, but the edges were, just from sitting around unprotected, they were bad. I needed to get 2 new hoops, or replacement hoops, I should say. When I say new, guys, I mean replacement. That was, I don't know, maybe about $150, $140. because I got them in really bad shape. I had to restore them, and those were a lot of work, man. In fact, it's the most work I've ever put into a hoop. If you guys have watched any of my old videos, you guys will know that I don't like restoring drum kits to the point where they look like brand new off the shelf, because I like a little bit of that mojo. I like them to tell a story. Anyhow, hardware, lugs, tension rods, hoops. I ended up buying an 80s Ludwig kit, and I learned a big lesson, and I'll tell you about that here. And I was able to cannibalize all the hardware. I think I was still missing the hardware, like the hoops and the legs for the 18, but for the most part, everything else was good. The problem is 80s lugs, 80s Ludwig classic lugs are different than the ones from the 60s and 70s. The little nipple that you thread into is longer, so when you put the screw into it, there's a gap, like it's sloppy. You probably have about an 1/8 inch of a gap. So I had to grind them down. I did have a lot of lugs in-house. Used the ones I had in-house first, and then modified the ones that I didn't in order to fit. So that was a little bit of a mission. I ended up buying a belt sander from Harbor Freight for $50, which ended up being a really good investment, and it ended up saving me a lot of time because I was able to just put it up against the sanding belt and then sand that little nipple down to the length or height, whatever you want to say, that I needed. The badges, and like I said, guys, please hold tight. I will show you guys in detail. I will take the camera around so you guys can see everything. The reproduction badges, I got the ones that look a little bit older, that where the brass is a little bit darker. I think I ended up paying $19, I think, or maybe 17 because of the 5 that I ended up purchasing. So once again, it keeps adding up, right? The tom post I ended up having to buy. I went to a buddy of mine, and he had an extra one. I think he gave it to me for like $20 or $30. The post bracket I had in-house, that was good. The legs, I was missing one set of legs. Actually, no, I'm sorry, I had an extra set of legs, so that worked out well. Heads all around, top and bottom, because once again, there were no heads. You know, sometimes you end up buying a vintage or just a used kit, and you know, you replace the batter side heads, but the resonant you'll keep to save money or because they're still good, whatever the case is. I had to buy all new heads. So you figure about $20 a head for the toms and about $24 a head for the floor toms. You know, and I needed 4 of those and 4 ones for the rack toms. It adds up. Not to mention the heads that I needed for the bass drum. I needed both of them. Once again, it all adds up. So what I'm trying to get at is, if you want to restore a drum set, do it. Just make sure that the squeeze is worth the juice, right? These I'm going to keep for various reasons. One, you know, it took a lot of work, man. A lot of work to get into this. And 2, I'm never going to get what I put into them because of the fact that the bass drum had so many holes. You know, I would put it over them. I sanded everything. I painted the shells. The interior is white. So the work is good. I'm happy with it. I would give myself a solid B, only because you can still see some of the, you know, the little tattletales that there was a hole there that was plugged. You know, I don't have the ability to completely mask it to the point where you don't see it, it gets lost, right? Besides, I don't want to hide it anyway. Because if I do sell a drum that I've plugged, I want people to know that that hole was plugged. I'm never trying to like be sneaky and pass something off as virgin or no extra holes if they've been messed with. The bass drum probably has about 5 or 6 hours worth of work alone. That's sanding, removing all the goo that was on there when I got the shells. That's getting ready to sand or to receive glue for the rewrap on the outside. That's, once again, plugging all the holes, letting it dry, sanding them, paint prepping the inside so it would look like a good restoration. And it sounds like a beast, man. It sounds great. The toms, the 2 rack toms probably have about 2 hours apiece. for the restoration. The floor toms, the 16 has probably about another hour and a half to 2 hours. The 18 probably has about 3.5 to 4 hours. This was a problem child. Just a complete problem child. I had every issue that you can think of. The heads wouldn't fit. I tried both like the standard size heads and the larger oversized heads that are made for vintage drums. It's not out of round. They just, like the wrap was just really tight around it with the new wrap. I ended up having to trim it and trim it and trim it. Now it is what it is, man. I'm not very happy with the 18 and I'll show you guys why. Let me take you through the kit, okay? I'll show you guys the cymbals first so you guys can see what I have, all my hardware, all my setup. And then I'll remove the cymbals and I'll just show you the shells, okay? That way you guys can get a really good idea. And like I said, I'll point out what I purchased, how I restored it, so that you guys can make a decision on whether it's worth buying and restoring or if you should just buy it finished as is. Okay, so this is a close-up of the kit. Right now, I'm using these pasty 2002s. I'm using this 18-inch Avidus Ride, which sounds absolutely incredible. It took me a while to find the sound that I wanted out of them. Meaning, like, I just kept playing different ones. I don't just buy the first one that I see. Over here, another Avidus 21-inch crash ride, or ride that's crashable. Super washy, I dig it. Now this bad boy right here, I usually play another Avidus 19 crash, but I've been wanting to put this in, into rotation for a while now. This Istanbul Agop Alchemy series. As I said before, I had to plug at least 40 holes to make sure that this was good. Okay, so cost, right? The lugs, $5 to $6 a piece, right? Is what I would recommend. I'm looking at about no more than $8 for the claw and the T-rod, okay? Each for those badges, and I put it on. I put the ring on. I made my own. If you guys want me to show you guys how you can make your own tool so that you can install these, let me know. It'll probably cost about $5 or $6, maybe a little bit less to make. But I need some comments by you guys, okay? The badge, I think I paid like $17 for all of these, and it's times 4, and it looks pretty good, man. I was really happy with the way they look. I was happy with the way they went on. Obviously, close up you can tell they're a reproduction, but it's good enough for government work, right? Over here, $30. You can tell that once again that this is the right one because it does have like a clear epoxy over the Ludwig. The older version of this doesn't, and it looks more raw, not as fancy and finished as this. I think I paid like 20 or 30. These cost about, I had in-house, but if you don't have it, I think they're about $15 or $20, okay, for that. Tension rods, by bulk. You can buy them through Drum Factory Direct, so that's what I recommend. Hoops, they're between like $13 and $20 a piece, depending on what size you need. Once again, for the wrap, I think I paid $3.50. When I put the video, I'll show you guys. I'll make sure the numbers are as correct as it possibly can. Once again, that's what told me when I was rebuilding it that it was the correct size. You can see right there, it's the large hole for the baseball bat and the screw at the bottom. Okay, so those are the things you want to look for. Down here, the little, this little arm, those I think are like $20 for the set, so I needed to get one of those. And you see it quickly adds up, right? Hoops, like I said, they were in really, really bad shape. And if you look closely, you can still see some of like the little marks, like right there. And I think I paid like $130, $140 for all of them. So yeah, for both of them, I should say, which is a pretty good deal because a lot of guys out there are asking about $80 to $90 per, plus shipping and all that, so it adds up pretty quickly. Okay. These are my 16 and 18 inch floor tom. I've never wanted an 18-inch floor tom. It just came with the $350 worth of shells. He actually ended up giving me, I think it was 7 shells total. One that I could use for plugging the large holes on that, which worked out great, and a 15-inch one, which like a 15-inch field drum shell. So yeah, those were the 7 shells that I got. All of these, every single shell that you see here had tons of extra holes. I had to plug them, paint prep it and all that. So there you go. Once again, I'll give you guys prices on all this stuff. All right. Here you can see the repro badge. The repro badge. If you're going to buy these, guys, do not buy... Look, this is a Ludwig reproduction, right? Modern reproduction. I think they're like 25 bucks for the 3, right? Why spend the $70 or $80 that people want to get you like the vintage one when you can buy a modern reproduction that looks identical for like half the price or even less? As we talked about, this is the problem I had with this shell. You guys can see right there. You see how short it is? Because I just kept having issues with it. The same thing at the bottom. So I had to cut it really short in order for it to clear. New heads, top and bottom. That's going to add up. So once again, guys, just be prepared. If you're going to go into restoring a drum kit, know that it's going to cost you money. There, that you see that hole right there? That's where I figured out that the lugs weren't aligned correctly. I plugged it, so I do have some extra wrap material, and I'll just be cutting out a little plug and then gluing it over the top of that, and it'll be pretty much forgotten. But there you go. That's a Trixon. I do have a video posted on that snare. On the back side of this, you can see there are the badges. I'm a lefty drummer. That's why the badges are in the back. I did restore that Ludwig kick pedal there. It's not mounted on there right now, but yeah, that's it. I restored that. If you guys want a video showing you guys how I restore these pedals, leave a comment. Leave a comment, guys. If you guys got anything to say, anything to add, anything you guys want to see, please leave a comment. And there's my kit. All right. Once again, it's awesome to restore. They're a lot of fun to restore. But if you're going to restore, you got to realize that it's going to cost you more money and more time. And hopefully once you see the numbers of how much it costs to restore this, you can have an idea of how much you should be paying for things, because people are asses and they want to charge outrageous amount of cash for some of these vintage parts. And do me a favor, guys. If you like what we're doing here, please subscribe, like, and share, and comment, please. Thank you very much.